Hello everyone, AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink, and for my card today I am using the new Honeybee Ocean Bliss stamp set. And I have a piece of Bristol smooth cardstock here, and I'm inking up my stamp with Hero Arts Intense Black ink, stamping that onto my Bristol smooth cardstock. This ink is waterproof. It's also good for alcohol-based markers. Today I'm going to use my Clean Color Real Brush markers to watercolor this image in. And I've super sped this up to like 400% faster than it took me, but even then it was pretty easy to color in. I'm just applying the marker color and then pulling it out with a water brush, and forgive the focus in and out. I tend not to look at the camera viewfinder when I'm filming my videos. So yeah. Applied the color, did the skin first. I will include all the colors in the supplies, but I used blush for the skin. And then for her hair, I started with deep brown. And I just applied the marker color in the deeper areas of her hair and then pulled it out with the brush. And then in the lower area of her hair, I used the violet marker. So it's like fading into a fun purple color, kind of trendy right now, the whole color ombre look. I couldn't resist myself with these images and their hair. They're so much fun. So did all of that, and then for her tail I mixed a couple of colors. I used yellow and May green and just applied the color and then mixed them together with my little water brush here, and then added just the May green to her tail. And then for the shell and the little flower I'm using turquoise green, and after I did that I decided to add just a little bit of that same turquoise green to the ends of her tail and just pulled it into the green. And then I used gray brown for the rock and just applied the marker color to where the shadows would be and then pulled that out with my water brush. So once I was done all of the main coloring, I went back in with my light pink marker and just added a little bit of sink to her cheeks just to finish it off. So added that, went over it with my water brush and just pulled the color out as evenly as I could so that I didn't end up with splotches on her face. Let everything dry, and then I ran that through my Big Shot with the coordinating die. And then I pulled out a couple scraps of some aqua colored cardstock. I had a darker and a lighter here, and I'm going to use my anti-static powder tool first. That just prevents the embossing powder from sticking to anything other than the stamped image. Then I'm using the little border stamp from the Ocean Borders stamp set. So I've got this on my Fiskars stamp press, and I inked it up with Versamark ink. Then I'm going to stamp that onto the darker cardstock, and purposely stamped it higher up because I want to stagger these layers to create my little scene. So stamped that, coated it with some white embossing powder, and then I just set this aside without heating it yet because I wanted to stamp the second piece with the same image. So once they're both stamped and they both had their embossing powder, I used my heat tool to melt all of that embossing powder, doing those back to back so it melts faster because the tool gets good and hot. And then there is a coordinating die for this image as well. So I run that through my die cut machine with the coordinating die so it cut out the border on both of these pieces. And then I pulled out the new Sunburst A2 cover plate die, and I die cut some pale yellow cardstock with that. And then I cut down some darker yellow cardstock to be the same size as that. And then I also used the new partly cloudy honey cuts dies and die cut some white cardstock. And then I realized the sentiments from that Ocean Bliss set would fit on this largest cloud. So I'm inking up the parts that I wanted to use with that same intense black ink and stamp those onto this largest cloud. And then I'm going to start adhering all of these together to create my scene. Now, funny thing is I was away on vacation last week and haven't had a chance to catch up on videos. But when I finished this card, I had a feeling that I had seen something similar and went and looked on the Honeybee blog. And Nicole did a fabulous card using a lot of the same elements. It's almost a little bit ridiculous how similar this is. So I decided to share it anyway, because it is a different take on it, but I will include a link to her post and video using all these elements and her absolutely amazing ink blending, because if you haven't seen it, you definitely need to check it out. So I will have links to all of that in the description box below the video, as well as on the blog post. So I adhered everything together with my Nuvo adhesive. And then for this little main image with the mermaid, I popped that up with some dimensionals. And then I also did the same thing with this lower ocean border set. I put all these random dimensionals just along the bottom of the card front here so that I could pop this over the little mermaid to finish off my scene here. And then once I did that, I'm going to start adhering all these clouds to complete my little card front. So I decided to pop the main cloud up with dimensionals as well, just to give it that extra bit of texture. And then the other cloud pieces I just adhered flat to the background with my Nuvo adhesive. And I let the larger one kind of hang over the edge. I'm going to trim that off with scissors in a minute here. And then the smaller one I trimmed with scissors so I could kind of tuck it behind this little mermaid here to finish off my little cloudy sky. So once I have that adhered, I can flip over this card front and trim off that little bit hanging off with scissors using the edge of the yellow cardstock as my guide. So once I have that done, I can go on to creating the inside of my card. So I have some heavyweight white cardstock here cut to 4 1/4 by 11, and I scored at 5 1/2 with my Teflon bone folder to create a top folding A2 size card. And then I stamped that border ocean image again, this time using coordinating ink that matched that darker aqua cardstock. So I stamped that along the bottom first, and then decided to pull out a piece of Post-it tape. And I'm going to run that through with that same coordinating die, and that way it created a really quick and easy mask. So I can mask that off, and then I can stamp the mermaid image with the lighter aqua ink, so then it looks, you know, seamless on the inside of the card. So I inked that up. I'm going to stamp that over top of this mask here. And then when I peel off the mask, I've got my perfect little kind of inside here. However, I didn't stamp it perfectly and missed a spot. I missed inking up a spot of her hair, but I didn't want to toss this card and, you know, start another card base. So I just inked up the sentiment I wanted to use and stamped that right over that little spot I missed. So then you can't tell. I love when it works out that way. So it saved me that little bit of time. And then I'm going to adhere my card front to the card base with the same Nuvo adhesive, just applying a thin amount of that, and then wiggling this into place so that it's framed all around the edges with the white cardstock. And then as a final bit of embellishment, I pulled out my diamond Stickles and just added little bits of glitter here and there to the image, being very light-handed. Because especially on this mermaid image, because it was colored in with the clean color real brush markers, these they do reactivate if you had any liquid like Stickles, etc. to it. So I didn't want everything smearing together, so I was really light-handed. Plus, doing it this way, it dries a lot faster. So I was light-handed, but I still added it to pretty much the entire card because you guys know me and my magpie tendencies. I like the sparkle. So I added a bunch of glitter. I'm going to let that dry, and that finished off my card. So as always, I will have links below the video to my blog post, links to all the supplies used. Check that out below if you are interested. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all very soon in another video. Bye!